Hey friends, in this video I want to talk about the identity of the bride. This is one of the gospel identities that we take on as followers of Christ. So what does it mean that we are the bride? I want to get really practical in this video here, and I want to just say right off the bat that being the bride can feel kind of weird to some of us, especially guys, because it's like I don't know what it's like to be a bride, or to some of us who are not married. What does that mean? So I really want to look at that and think in terms of what does this identity show us, and what is it calling us to specifically? So I want to just put out this word passive. Passive. To be the bride is in a deep sense to be passive, receptive, and open. And in a way, you might call this just a quality of human life that is often more associated with the feminine, with the bride who is waiting, the bride who is ready, the bride who is open and expectant for what's going to take place, the bride who is glorious in beauty. All those things are often a feminine quality we think of, and they're really getting at this idea that as followers of Jesus, we are called to be not just active, not just taking charge and doing things, but receptive and open. And this may be hard for some of us to really get our hands on, and you may think, is that even biblical? Right? So let me do two things. First, let me give you an illustration. So if any of you have ever gone and given blood before, you may be familiar with, when you're trying to get the blood out, you may be squeezing like a ball or something like that to get it going, right? I don't know, you may have also given plasma before. Because of COVID, having had COVID, I was asked, hey, will you go give your plasma? Because now they have these antibodies that can help other people. So my wife and I are going to give plasma, right? And one of the things that I learned about that is when you give plasma, they take the blood out, they take the plasma out of the blood, and then they return the blood back to your body. So as that blood returns back to your body, what they tell you is you need to stop pumping at that point, and you just need to be receptive. Don't fight it, just receive it. And this is that receptive quality. Sometimes in life, we can't be just pumping and going at it. We've got to be still, we've got to be open, and we've got to just receive. As Christians, that may be hard because we think the Christian life is about doing, accomplishing something, being better, right? And maybe just as Americans in our culture, we think that about a lot of things. But that's not biblical. The biblical picture is this. In the Old Testament, we see that God is the groom, he's the husband, and Israel is his wife. And that means that he rejoices over her, and he loves her, and he is all about giving her everything she needs to flourish. Isaiah 62:5 says, as a groom rejoices over his bride, so your God rejoices over you. When you see what God is doing in the Old Testament, he's going to places like Egypt. He's rescuing his people out of her, and he's taking her back to his home, to the promised land. That is the picture of a groom. He goes and he takes his bride, and he takes her home, and he cares for her. So there's this receptive quality, this passive quality of the people of Israel, where they were just called not to do anything, not to put their trust in this or that tool and this or that weapon or in this or that effort that they gave, but to just lean totally on the Lord for everything they needed. And we see in the New Testament that same theme is followed with Jesus. Jesus is the groom. He is the husband. And what he does is he comes and he lays down his life for the bride. He gives everything for her so that he can make her a beautiful, spotless, pure woman or bride, right? So that she can, in all her glory, just radiate beauty and grace because of what he's done for her. And so when you read passages like Revelation 21 and 22, that's the picture you get. You get this picture of the bride. And really, it's a picture of a city coming down from heaven. She's been purified. She's so lovely. Everything about her is made of jewels and gold. There's a river running through this city that is the river of the water of life. And it's like that image that Jesus uses of a city on a hill, and all of the nations, all the peoples of the world, it says in Revelation, just want to come to her in awe of what she is, of what the people of God have become, right? And yeah, I know you look at us today, you look at the church, and you see a lot of broken people. In fact, you probably experienced church before where you may have been rejected, you may have been hurt by people who were supposed to be, Christ's people. Well, this is where, Christ says to us, as the bride, you need to continue to receive from me. Let me wash you and purify you. How does that happen? That happens through trials, and that happens through people who come into our life who God uses to help us grow, to help us mature. And so we're all on the path, right? None of us have arrived yet. And that's, again, about just affirming that reality. That's true. So every single day, I need to be open and receptive and passive to let God speak to me, to let Him change me, to let the people around me do that as well. So practically, what does that look like to step in this identity of the bride of Christ? Well, first thing in the morning, instead of grabbing your phone from your nightstand, instead go get your coffee or whatever you need and just sit down in a chair and wait on the Lord. You might pray this prayer, which has really been important to me, from one of the Psalms. It says this: "One thing I've asked of the Lord, this is what I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to seek Him in His temple." And I just pray that one prayer as a way to say, Lord, there's only one thing I really want, and that is you. I want to be in your house. I want you to be the one who just loves me, cares for me, and gives me everything I need. And then I just sit and I wait. I sit and I wait. And by the way, if it's hard for you to sit, you can do what I often do too, is I go for a walk. But I'm not reading anything. I'm not listening to anything. I'm not talking to anybody on my phone. I'm just still and waiting for Him to speak to me. So I encourage you to do that right on the get-go of the day, and be actively passive. Just saying, I'm going to wait, I'm going to receive. Step into your identity as the bride. I hope this has been helpful to you. Please check out the resources included. Blessings.